G-Force Assemble for the final episode of Gametastic 4. For the final time, I am your host, Poltergeist. And ladies and gentlemen, so I said in a previous video that I am canceling the Life is Strange videos. So this is going to be the final gameplay video on the channel. So we are going to be finishing the Doki Doki side stories. So with that being said, let's get right to it. Hey. Oh, hello. I almost thought you weren't coming today. Yeah, well, lunch is already more than halfway over. Natsuki had typically been meeting Yuri in the stairwell much earlier, since it had been a good way of dodging her friends when she didn't feel like seeing them. Today she's holding a large plastic container in both hands. I ran into my friends, so I hung out with them for a while. Is that so? Yeah. I was in a good mood today, so I figured I should. I hadn't seen them in a while, which I had to come up with an excuse for, but I expected that. Plus, I have way more of these than I know what to do with, so I figured I would share with them too. As she sits down, Natsuki opens the lid of her container. You make cupcakes. You know it. It's been a while at this point, so I figured it was about time again. You can take one if you want. Yuri takes a cupcake and carefully twirls it between her fingers. It's brown, with dark green frosting immaculately shaped in a floral pattern and topped with some kind of glittery powder. How pretty. I just ate, so I may not be able to finish it. Are they for the club? Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think about it. I just made them. Ah, I just thought that because green is Monica's favorite color, right? Well, yeah, but that's not really... Yuri takes a small bite. This is green tea flavored. I love green tea. Oh, do you? It was just a random idea I wanted to try, so... Don't laugh at me. I'm not. I just felt happy. Oh, sorry. Usually when... Never mind. What I mean is that I'm glad. Sorry for saying dumb things again. I just wanted to do something nice. And this is something I happen to be good at. And I don't know what... And I don't know that you like them from passing... Oh, I cannot talk today. And I do know that you like them from past experience. Yuri turns red, recalling the time she treated herself rather generously to Natsuki's cupcakes. Ironically, her mouth is too full of cupcake for her to stammer an excuse, so she just settles for a disapproving look. How did you get into baking? Oh, well, I don't know. It kind of just always appealed to me. Well, a few years ago, I read this one manga with a lot of baking, so I got like super into it for a while. I was probably making stuff almost every day. But it's something that I always knew I liked anyway. It's like, baking is like an art. But when you get good at it, it gets more delicious too. I'm struggling to imagine myself putting my heart into something so artistic, knowing that it would just be eaten afterwards. Yeah, maybe you're too practical for it. I think I prefer to be on the receiving end. That's my other favorite part about it. It's something I can do that makes a lot of people happy, like, unconditionally. Everyone is always so thankful, and in that moment you get to be like the bringer of joy. I don't know, it just makes me feel... valued? Yeah, I guess that. So you were able to make up with your friends today? There wasn't really anything to make up with them about. We weren't fighting or anything. You weren't? Maybe I misunderstood. It only turns into a fight if I lose my cool, and that's just unnecessary drama. It only makes things worse. So they're not going to stop? I mean, it only happens sometimes anyway. It's just the way they are. I'm the only one who ever has a problem with it. It's not worth it. Especially since I have somewhere to go now when I don't feel like hanging out with them. Oh, I see. The cupcake's empty foil wrapper audibly crinkles and Yuri clenches a fist. As Yuri clenches a fist, sorry. I'm glad that the situation is resolved, and that you don't have to avoid them anymore. Yeah, me too. And I don't have to bother you during your alone time anymore. I'm sure you have a lot of reading to catch up on. Yeah? Yeah. I know that cupcakes are basically nothing compared to all the stuff you've done for me. But it's the best I can do. So you can have the rest of them. Natsuki grabs the box and slides it over to Yuri's feet. Yuri stares at the box. Then, she shakes her head and slides them back. You should save them for your other friends. But I made them for you. Natsuki's voice whines as she protests. I know. And I like them very much. Exactly as you thought. You succeeded. But I know you care about making your other friends happy too. And if this is the way you know how to make that happen, then I'm not going to take it from you. No! They were for making you happy! You make me happy. You're worth more than cupcakes to some people. That's why they want to spend time with you. And be your friend. Without warning, tears pour from Natsuki's eyes. She pulls her knees to her chest and starts sobbing into her arms. Natsuki, I'm such a bad person. Yuri stammers, feeling panicked. I didn't mean to say something bad. Natsuki shakes her head and wipes her eyes. You didn't. I just... Natsuki tries to choke back her sobs, but struggles to speak through them. I just really hate myself sometimes. And it feels so wrong when you say those nice things to me. Like I don't deserve it. I'm sorry. No, I am. I'm so difficult. And I can't think of even a single thing about myself that somebody would like. We all have those days sometimes. And I hated myself for bothering you during lunch. And I just thought it was my chance to be a good person. Like to be nice and do the things you wrote about in the letter. I knew if I tried in the club, Sayori and Monaco would be super annoying and make a huge deal out of it. You know, I think a lot of those negative things too, about myself. I never felt like a good person. I always scrutinize everything I say. And later, I feel like I said all the wrong things. And I just spent so much time thinking about myself, hating myself, and feeling like everyone else must hate me too. So, I understand some of that through my own experience. And that's why I want to write the letter and express my feelings. It pained me to see those things in someone else that I saw in myself. Natsuki sniffles. Yuri wrestles through her bag and pulls out some tissues, then hands them to Natsuki. Monica told me that it takes a good person to reflect on these things, I should say. The desire to improve yourself, that makes you a good person, so don't worry so much. Also, there are things about you that people would like, so... Like what? Like how you're fun for people to be around. And you're not shy. And you know how to make other people laugh. And you're very passionate about things. And you know how to take the lead. And you care a lot about other people. And just a lot of things. Oh. Well, now you're making me feel really embarrassed. Well, you're the one who asked. And don't you think I feel embarrassed? Natsuki tries to hide a smile. Then, she sighs as it fades again. Every time I come here, I always think it's the last time. But then I keep coming back for some reason. Is that bad? Just really confusing. I mean, my friends and I go way back, so ditching them all the time feels like, I don't know. Feels like what? Natsuki's voice gets quiet. Maybe I'm scared that they'll get mad at me. I really don't know what to do. She pauses. Yuri stares into the distance, tracing her eyes along the patterns of the floor tiles while she thinks to herself. What would you do, hypothetically, if your friends were happy for you instead of mad at you? Happy for what? Happy that your new club is making you happy. Well, that's just not a fair hypothetical. Natsuki says that, but with little confidence in your voice. I always told myself that I don't rely on the approval of others to be happy. And I still feel that way, but I'm spending time with people who put me down whenever I don't have their approval. That's probably what's making me feel so confused. Because I'm threatened out of the things that should make me happy. So no matter what, it's like I have to be unhappy to be happy. It's making my head hurt. That makes it really difficult to feel comfortable with yourself. Being made to feel like you're wrong just for being the person you are? It really goes against everything I believe in, doesn't it? It goes against the kind of person I want to be. That's why I love this game. It always hits you where it's really relatable. Like, as you see, I can relate with Natsuki, like, feeling like you're going the wrong direction, like you're not becoming the person you want to be. This game is really good at being relatable. I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with a lot of things. Natsuki presses her palms to her forehead and shakes her head. I know what's best for me, but I keep convincing myself out of it. It's so much easier to be comfortably unhappy than it is to do something so scary. To do what? You know, to end it. With them? Natsuki nods. I didn't think you were actively considering that as an option. I wasn't until recently. It's just one of those things where, like, it's been a certain way for so long that you just get used to it. Like, So much of you has gone into it. So much that it feels like that's just how your life is. And throwing it away is like throwing away such a big part of your life. It makes me feel sick to think about. Natsuki sighs. It's just really scary. It's terrifying. What are you so scared of? I don't know. A lot of things. Like being alone. Not having anyone to talk to or hang out with. Not being able to replace what I have with them. And I don't want them to hate me. And I'm scared they'll hurt me for going against them. Physically? Not physically. But Yuri clenches her fists. Natsuki. What? If anyone even thinks to cause you harm, I will unleash hell upon them. Natsuki snorts in laughter. Don't laugh at me. Sorry, I was just... I like that. That's all. Oh. Well, I meant it. I know you did. Natsuki gives Yuri an endearing look. I needed it. As the conversation lapses, Natsuki again slides her box of cupcakes over to Yuri. Just take them, okay? I don't want other people to have them anymore. Are you sure? Natsuki nods. I'm sure. I will then. I'll enjoy them. Natsuki looks away, but a feeling of warmth spreads through her. She holds onto that feeling, knowing it will give her courage. Ah, you're here first today. Mm-hmm. And you brought reading material. Mm-hmm. Natsuki is sitting in her usual spot, this time holding a volume of manga with her lunch while her lunch sits beside her. Yuri sits down as well and opens her own book. It sucks when a good series has to come to an end. Like, it's such a big part of your life, and then one day, there's just nothing left. It makes you feel so empty. Unfortunately, I'm about to experience that myself. I'm on the last book of this series. That sucks. But there's also something satisfying about letting a story conclude. I don't know if I'd want to go on forever. Maybe. But there are some things that I wish could. On the other hand, have you ever read something that overstayed its welcome? Yeah, definitely. I can't think of at least one thing I've read that got pretty unbearable like halfway through, and the ending really sucked. So, it sucks when something good has to end, but it also sucks when they just keep inventing more plot until you don't like it anymore. I guess it sucks either way. Well, that's the nature of all things. They come to an end. The two fall silent. They slowly eat while making their way through their respective reading material. Except Natsuki doesn't seem to be touching her food at all. You don't go out during the weekends, right? Excuse me? Like, with friends, at the mall, or downtown, or whatever? I'm not a total shut-in, you know. Oh, my bad for making assumptions. Well, I'm sure I go out less often than other people, like you and the others in the club. I don't really meet with friends and arbitrarily spend time like that. I'm usually meeting with my board game group. Board game group? It doesn't matter. It's just more nerdy stuff. Why do you ask, anyway? I was just curious. I just realized that I couldn't picture it, so I was just curious. Yuri looks at Natsuki and realizes that she's shaking. Don't look at me like that. Sorry. Natsuki pulls her knees to her chest and pulls her head down. I can't take this. Did I do something? Yuri gets flustered, her mind racing over what she may have said or done. I did. I ended it. I texted them earlier, telling them. And then I just blocked them because I'm so afraid of their responses. And now it feels like I'm dying inside. Oh, that's... I'm sorry. Totally unsure of what to do, Yuri can barely find any words of support to offer. Meanwhile, the sound of Natsuki's unusually hard breathing fills the air. Then, she speaks again, barely above a whisper. Help me. I feel sick and I want to hit my head against things. Please help. I can't take this. You may be having a panic attack. With that realization, Yuri's demeanor suddenly changes. I have experience with this, so I'll help you through it, okay? Natsuki meekly nods through a rapid breath, head still buried in her knees. Yuri slides herself over to Natsuki and sits on the step behind her. Then, she puts her hands on Natsuki's shoulders. Can you feel my hands? Natsuki nods. Her shaking becomes much more apparent through Yuri's sense of touch. Yuri keeps her voice low and gentle. You're safe right now. You're in a good and safe place, where nothing can hurt you. Natsuki nods once more. Although Yuri is only touching Natsuki's shoulders, she can practically feel her racing pulse through the base of her neck. We'll do a breathing exercise together. All you have to do is listen to my breath and breathe along with me. Let's breathe in now. Yuri takes a deep, slow breath. Beneath her hands, she feels Natsuki's shoulders rise as Natsuki takes a breath of her own, trying to mimic Yuri. They exhale together, although Natsuki's breath shakes on the way out. That's good. Let's keep going. Yuri breathes in once more, and Natsuki joins her. They continue like that for a few more cycles, while Yuri closely monitors. Eventually, Yuri feels Natsuki rest more of her weight into Yuri's palms. Let's focus on the physical world. All you have to do is focus on the feeling of your breaths going in and out, and the weight of my hands on your shoulders. You're in a safe and comfortable physical space. Minutes pass in silence. By now, the worst of it has passed, but Yuri is determined not to move away until Natsuki prompts her to. Meanwhile, Natsuki has lifted her head off her knees, and her breathing has mostly steadied. Then, she takes a final deep breath and slowly pulls herself to her feet, causing Yuri to let go. She stretches her arms. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to freak out. I don't know what my deal is. You don't have to apologize. This must be enormously stressful for you. Is that going to keep happening? It may or it may not. We can take measures to help prevent it in the future, but I think it will naturally get better over time. Natsuki motions to sit back down again, so Yuri moves over. Yuri turns away to pick up her open book from the dusty floor, which she had hastily set down earlier. She brushes the dust off the cover. I don't think I could have gotten through that alone. You're not alone. Feeling shy again, Yuri speaks into her own lap. From now on, you don't have to do anything alone. As she says that, Yuri tenses up. It's rare for her to so openly share her thoughts. But something about Natsuki, of all people, makes it feel so much more natural to do so. Perhaps because, like Yuri, Natsuki is so timid and uncertain of herself. Natsuki does such a good job at hiding it that it's taken a long time for Yuri to finally realize it. And because of that, Yuri is able to deliver the reassurance that she herself would have wanted, demonstrating that you deserve the love of others. If you can accept that for the first time, then perhaps you can begin the tumultuous journey of learning to love yourself. That is a very, very good lesson to learn. Way to go, Doki Doki Legend Club. Way to go. Do you really mean that? You're probably gonna regret saying that if you do. How so? Because I'm probably gonna have a lot of free time during the weekends from now on. So you're giving me permission to be as annoying as I want and drag you around to a lot of places. I see. But you already said it, so you can't take it back now. Ah. Well, I suppose I have no choice but to accept that responsibility then. I know a good ice cream place. Oh. That means you'll finally figure out my favorite ice cream flavor? Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, you don't remember? The first day that you came to the club, you guessed everyone's favorite ice cream flavor. But for me, you said you had no idea. Seriously? I don't remember that at all. Oh wait, yes I do. I said it was probably green tea. Yuri shakes her head. It's a good guess, but my favorite is usually to get chocolate and raspberry together. Chocolate and raspberry? How fancy. How's that fancy? Oh, I don't know. I felt like I should have guessed something like that. Well, maybe next time I'll try chocolate and strawberry. Hey, strawberry is my favorite! What a coincidence. I think it helps to have something to look forward to. I still have the sick feeling in my stomach. But it's easier now to convince myself that I did the right thing. Is there anything better I could be doing? Not that I know of. There's nothing that will make this easy for me. And you already did more than I thought anyone could. Come to think of it, we never talked about the letter you wrote. But I feel like we're way past that at this point. I don't even know what to talk about. Except that I think it helped me understand my needs a little bit better. The way I like to be treated. And the kinds of friends that I would want to have. That's why I wanted to start coming here in the first place, even though I was so scared of causing more problems. I thought it was a coincidence that you ran me up here initially. Oh, well, not exactly. What do you mean? Nothing. I maybe have tracked you down first, with the help of Sayori. But you said I was shy, okay? I wasn't ready to whatever, you know what I'm saying. Well, I guess I'm glad that you worked up the courage. Even if it was in your own way. I can tell that you've been making a lot of difficult decisions. It's brave, and it will make things better in the long run. I think anyone could be proud of you for it. Anyone? You mean, like you? Yes, like me. You know, I could get used to this. As long as you don't tease me too much. Fine. Just a little then. That's fine. I know how uncertain everything feels to you right now. But I really do think that good things are in store. Thanks. It feels nice to be reassured. The two girls continued their conversation through the remainder of lunch. But a new feeling hangs in the air. A feeling of greater certainty in their path forward. In just a few hours, there will be another literature club meeting, where the 4 club members will happily spend time together. Each of them, all with their own special qualities, have something unique that they can deliver to one another. Through friendship and literature, the club members will continue to grow and find new happiness together. The end of each chapter is the start of the next. Yuri thinks to herself, since she's about to finish her long-running series, it would be best to have a new book lined up. Perhaps this weekend would be a good time to visit the bookstore. Together. Whoa. Oh, there's another one. Alright. Well, I guess this is the final one to do, so let's do it. Okay, everyone. We're gonna be taking a break from the usual activities today. I was thinking since people are starting to talk about the festival, it's a good time for us to go over the general direction of the club and all that. I think it'll help us figure out what to do for the festival, you know? Oh, so Yori and I already came up with a really good plan. Really? For the festival? Yeah! So the plan is this, okay? You and Sayori collect information ahead of time on which clubs and classes are doing food booths. Then we take a map and plan the most efficient route, so we can get to most of them before the lines get too long. Hey, that has nothing to do with the club. Well, you have to let me finish. Alright, fine, go ahead. Alright, so basically, we get all the food we can, then we come back together so we all eat together. That's all. Wow, I got tricked twice by the same joke. Boo! Don't be a hater. It's not like you can come up with anything better. Look, even Yuri was thinking about it. No, I wasn't. I would really prefer to do something literature related. We can eat together anytime. The festival is a unique opportunity. Besides, it's been quite a while since we've seen any new interest in the club. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. We really get a shot at showing people what the literature club is all about. I'll tell you what, we can do both, alright? We'll make time for your food mission and still put together a public event. Oh my gosh, yes! I was just joking, but that's a really good idea. Well, I'm glad that's settled. I think the question is, how to come up with an event that demonstrates everything you can get out of a literature club. The literature club. Well, that's kind of tough because everyone gets something different out of the club. Okay, how about this? Let's go around and have each of us all talk about what we've gotten out of the club so far. That could really help us figure out what kind of reputation we want to build. Yeah! That's too embarrassing. Aw, but you had so much to talk about. That's exactly why. And I'm sure that Suki feels the same way. Well, maybe, but I didn't plan on arguing against it or anything. I mean, it's the literature club. We talk about that stuff together, right? And the only way to get more comfortable with it is to suck it up and do it. Oh, you're not wrong. I'm sorry for being resistant. It sounds good to say suck it up because it sounds like their feelings don't matter. Right, my bad. It's just a habit I need to break. Well, anyway, who's gonna start? I'll start! I was the first to join after all. Wouldn't that be me? No, I want to go first! Fine. You can start, I don't mind. Yay! So, gosh, it feels like so long ago. I think I joined because I wanted to have fun sharing poems with people. It seemed like it would be a safe way to express myself, you know? Like, it's just a poem that I can share without feeling like I'm burdening anyone with my problems. And I thought it'd be a really good way to get to know other people too. So yeah, I was really surprised when I walked in and it was just Monica. And she was sleeping. Don't remind me of that. Oh gosh. Yeah, but it seems like so much fun to help start a new club. Especially since writing helped me so much. I wanted to see it help other people too. But it ended up being me who was inspired. Because I remember feeling like Monica was just so sweet and mature. And I could trust her with anything. It made me feel a lot less alone. Having someone who knew even the bad things about me. And at that point, I knew the literature club was going to be special for a lot of people. Yeah, I felt the same way. It really helped give the club a more cohesive vision. Yeah, and then Yuri joined, but she was so different from us. And Natsuki too. I think, for Yuri, it really helped me to take the lead before she was able to open up a little. But Natsuki was kind of the opposite. Well, she wasn't ready to get really close to someone really quickly. I never really thought about that sort of thing. I really feel like I've gotten better at understanding people's different needs. And that makes me really happy, because my friends are just the most important thing to me. But whatever new members we get, I want to help them in those ways too. I don't know if I would have continued coming to the club if it weren't for you. Really? I know it wasn't too long ago, but it hurts to think about my behavior back then. I was really short-sighted. The only reason I came was to find others who were into fantasy. I suppose that was my idea of making friends with people. And I remember feeling uncomfortable because you and I have such different energies. I had such a specific idea of the kind of person I would be friends with, so when Sayori tried so hard to get to know me, I felt like I was just wasting her time. I think I was naive to assume that similar interests was a key component of friendship. Sayori and I were able to be friends because she always thinks about the needs of other people. That's something I never knew what to do, how to do, or even thought to do. But I stayed in the club thanks to that, and I started trying as hard as I could to understand other people better. You really want You really went above and beyond when it came to that. I was just super impressed. Well, I always hated that I didn't know how to behave like a person who is easily liked by others, like the two of you can. And because of that, I spent so much time thinking about my own behavior and all the wrong things I said. But the whole time, I should have been thinking about other people instead, not myself. Once I started doing that, I was able to make friends with everyone else. Oh, also, I discovered that sometimes I'm a better communicator when I take time to write rather than speak. It's so strange the way things turned out. It's so far different from anything I ever would have expected. But I'm happy. I suppose we don't always know what we really need. Oh my gosh! He's so cute and he's so cute that I'm going to throw up! Okay, please don't do that, Theory. Besides, I'm not cute. Hey, isn't that my line? Oh. Well, for me, it's actually pretty silly. Oh no, we're gonna hear it. What are you saying? Yeah, I knew that was happening. I knew that was happening. As soon as Yuri said that line, I knew what was gonna happen. Nothing. I finished my part, so somebody else take their turn. My heart! Theory, take some deep breaths. Okay, fine, I'll go. Yuri, I can't believe you were complaining about doing this and still went before me. What a show-off. I was just following up on Sayori. It was the easiest way to get it over with. Besides, you left out the most important thing that you get out of this club. I did? Yeah, a regular supply of your favorite cupcakes. Oh no, I forgot that too! I'm a traitor to the Cupcake Queen! Neither of you are forgiven. Looks like only Monica will be getting cupcakes next time. No! I can't eat that many cupcakes. Yeah, true. Only Yuri can. Hey. Well, anyway, I'm just putting off talking. It's kind of hard to talk about this stuff. But I guess what it comes down to is that I'm in a much better place mentally than I was when I first joined. And that's because everyone helped me realize that I had some really toxic friendships going on outside the club. It was honestly a really painful thing to go through. Having to cut them out, it still hurts to think about. I'm sorry, Natsuki. It's fine. I knew it was for the best. And I was right. I guess for me, it's all about feelings. I was only ever ridiculed for having feelings, so I thought the right thing to do was to just ignore them. I've been there before. Like I said, Natsuki, to me, is the most relatable character. It took me a really long time to realize that it's not really how things are supposed to work. And I guess that's thanks to everyone who took the time to respect my feelings, even when I was being like the biggest jerk. I'm really sorry for being such a jerk to everyone. I was really the worst. Natsuki's voice chokes a little. We love you, Natsuki! I just hate that I was like that. Everyone did so much for me, and I could never do anything in return. That's not true. Natsuki, you've done a lot more than you think. This club really wouldn't have been the same without you. I mean that. Remember how judgmental I was when you first showed up? It was like I couldn't accept anything other than my own idea of what a literature club was supposed to be. Apparently, That was more important to me than the opportunity to bring you some happiness. You really taught me that anything that makes someone happy is worthy of respect. You even inspired me to start playing piano. That's something that means a whole lot to me. So there's no need to put yourself down. Okay. Natsuki wipes her eyes. You helped me a lot too! It's so much fun to have you around! And you helped me become a better person! Having a problem doesn't make you needy or inconvenient. It means that there's something that needs to be better for you, and you always deserve that. I agree. Seeing us have some of the same struggles made me a better person as well. I wouldn't want to change anything about our time here. I don't think any of us would. I'm sorry I got all dramatic again. That's all I wanted to say. So Monica can go now. There's no need to apologize. It was something I wanted to talk about anyway, because it made a big difference for me. I was always such a strict perfectionist who never took enough time to believe in the best of other people. But everything kept proving me wrong. I made the mistake multiple times, thinking that my way is the best for everyone. Or thinking that I was needed to solve other people's problems. But I think being a leader means that you have to acknowledge that you're not perfect, and that the best thing you can do is to help guide people, rather than to do everything for them. We're all good people. We're all equals. The title of this side story. I think that's the most important thing I've gotten out of the club. Realizing what that really means. Sayori, what are you doing? I just thought that we should be writing some of these things down. Things about the club that are valuable to us. With a piece of chalk in her hand, Sayori writes the word trust on the chalkboard. This is because you showed me that I could trust you with everything about me, not just my good side. Suddenly, Yuri takes a piece of chalk as well. She writes, understanding. I owe a lot of gratitude to everyone who took the time to understand me, even though it was so difficult for me to express myself. In that case, Monica takes a piece of chalk as well, and writes the word respect. I always thought I was a respectful person, but it took the club for me to realize that there was more to it than I thought, and I'm a better person because of it. I have another one! Sayori writes, balance. Sometimes people want different things out of a friendship, or they need time before they're ready to become close. So it's important to keep things balanced between you and the other person. That reminds me. Yuri writes, reflection. I've always been a reflective person, but most of it has been nothing more than hating myself for all the things I thought I did wrong. Once I started reflecting on other people, and not just myself, a lot of things changed for me. So I think that's the most important one for me. That's great. We have a whole list of things now. Suddenly, everyone turns to look at Natsuki. Well, everyone took all the chalk. Don't look at me like that, jeez. You could have just asked. Monica hands her a piece of chalk to Natsuki. Then, Natsuki sighs and writes, self-love. I don't know how far I've gotten with it yet, but it feels like things are at least on the right track. So there, that's my contribution. Together, everyone stares at the words on the board. Wasn't this club supposed to be about literature? It is, and so much more. It is! We still do a lot of literature! Friendship and literature! Yeah. I feel like this literature club, when you do the side stories, it's more than just a literature club. It's a place where you learn all life secrets. That's what I've learned from these side stories since I started doing them. There's a whole lot of stuff we don't know about life. And this game, the side stories, have taught us just that. Yeah, you're right. Friendship and literature. Natsuki and Yuri gently nod as well. Hey, let's all take a picture together. We don't have one yet, right? Hey, you're right! Make sure you send it to me after! Wait, can I brush my hair first or something? Oh, you're fine. You already have the best hair out of all of us. Everyone get together. Everyone get together! I can't fit you all in. Okay. Okay, everyone ready? And click. I'm really glad we talked about this stuff. It's easy to forget how far we've come with only 4 members. Yeah! Well, messed up Sayori's voice. I'm gonna try again. Yeah! I have so many happy thoughts right now. I'm getting some really good inspiration for a poem. You know, I feel the same way. I kind of want to get some writing done. Me too! I think I would like to do it as well. Everyone's looking at me again. I'll do it too, but I might not feel like sharing it. That's okay. The 4 members of the literature club disperse and return to their desks, each equipping themselves with a pen. Natsuki and Yuri give each other a quick glance, then start writing immediately. Sayori stretches, then does the same. But Monica is left tapping her pen against the paper, unsure of where to start. Just move your hand, Monica mouths to herself. Right the way into your heart. Her mind full of thoughts, memories, and inspiration, Monica navigates past her mental barriers and begins to write. It doesn't matter what, just that it's something new. And with that, we did it! Doki Doki Literature Club Side Stories is over. And with that, we have completed the game. I gotta say, it has been a journey. Doki Doki Literature Club has tugged at our heartstrings, it has tugged at our emotions. It has done a lot. And ladies and gentlemen, a heck of a way to retire the channel. A heck of a way. Well, with that said, I'm gonna make the video saying my final goodbyes. And for the final time, well, actually, I'm gonna save that final time for the goodbye video. So, I'm gonna end it right here. And I'm going to officially say goodbye.